Good evening. So, today we are going to start Indian polity. First of all, we will discuss what are the topics which we will cover here and what are the references, that is source of study, and after that approach of the study, and then we will cover each and every topic. So, our syllabus is Indian Polity, Constitution and Governance, the complete name. Indian Polity, Constitution and Governance. So, three topics are there. First is polity. Indian means related to India. So, it is very simple. Polity, Constitution and Governance. So, what is the meaning of polity? Polity means system of government. We have three tier of government system in our country: union government, state government, local government, and very other aspects of government are also there. That is government of union territory. Some aspect of administration of scheduled and tribal areas. We have some scheduled and tribal areas also in our country. So there are different provisions for administration of scheduled and tribal areas. We also have some transitional and temporary provisions for some states, like for state of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Nagaland, Assam, Manipur. There are some temporary provisions in our constitution. These provisions are mentioned in part 21. These are also part of government system. So these all are included in system of government, and we will cover all the system of government. So polity means system of government. And constitution is the supreme law of the land. Every country has its own constitution: American constitution, Indian constitution, British constitution, French constitution. So constitution is supreme law of the land. It provides detail for the formation and function of government. Also, constitution protects our rights. Also, constitution gives detail for function of government, duties of government. So constitution describes do's and don'ts of the government also. And what is the source of polity? The source of polity is constitution. That is, constitution is basis of our study. So we will cover the system of government according to our constitution, that is according to our supreme law. And third is governance. What is governance? Governance is act and activity of government. That is, it is a manner in which government functions. It is a manner in which government functions. So governance is, we can say, act and activity of government. Act and activity of governance is known as governance. So these three topics are in our syllabus: polity, constitution and governance. So what are the topics for polity? Because we have two different topics for main examination. First is polity, second is governance. Polity covers in main examination almost 9 questions. And governance covers almost 4 questions every year. So total 13 questions are there related to polity and governance. So for the main examination, we will separately cover the part of governance. Here we are going to cover first polity, Indian polity. So we will not cover here governance part regarding main examination. We will cover here only part of polity. So which topic we will cover here under polity? So we are going to discuss which topic we are going to cover under polity section. So we will start our study in detail with the study of Indian Constitution. Okay, when you will see the books, then there are some initial topics in books like historical evolution of Indian Constitution, framing of Indian Constitution. We will not cover these topics initially. Why we will not cover? We will cover, but later we will cover. Initially we will not cover these topics. Why? Because these topics are related to factual information only. There is no concept behind these topics. They are collection of facts. These topics are collection of facts, collection of information, and many facts are there. So if we are going to study initially with fact and information, then it will design our approach of study. And our approach of study should not be factual. It should be conceptual. So we have designed the syllabus of polity accordingly, and initially we will cover the conceptual topics, and all factual topics we will cover later on. So therefore we are designing the contents of Indian polity for our convenience, for our study differently, which are mentioned in books. Okay, so first of all we will cover topic of introduction. This is basically introduction, and this is a lengthy topic. We will cover many concepts here. What is government, what is governance, and we have described very briefly here, but we will discuss it in detail. What is the difference between government and governance? What is the difference between governance and administration? What is administration? So not only these concepts are required for your conceptual understanding, but questions have been asked from this section. What is the main function of administration? What is the main function of bureaucracy? This question was asked in 2021. This question was asked. What is the main function of bureaucracy? The main function of bureaucracy is execution. So why the main function of bureaucracy is execution? We must know. Why not framing of rule? Why not framing of law? Why not framing of policy? Bureaucracy is related to execution of laws, execution of policy, execution of rules, execution of decisions. Why? So we will discuss these aspects of concept. So first topic is introduction. Second is features of Constitution. That is features of Indian Constitution. If we see the book, if you see the book, then many features are mentioned, but we will cover only those features here which we will not cover in our study later on. So only 3 to 4 features we will cover here under the features of constitution, and questions have been asked from this section. So we are studying here only those topics which are relevant to our examination, which are important for our examination. So features of Indian constitution. Next, nature of constitution. And in this topic, nature of constitution, we will discuss federal system. Federal system. What is federal system? What is federation? What is difference between federation and federal? Federal system is different, federation is different. So America is federal and federation both, but India is federal and union, not federation. So what is federal system? What are the three types of federal system? Confederation, federation, union. And also we will examine the Indian federal system. So what is the nature of Indian federal system? Is it perfect federal? Yes, it is perfect federal. If it is perfect federal, then why? Is it quasi-federal? No, it is not quasi-federal. No doubt, K.C. Ware called it quasi-federal, but it is the view of quasi-federal. It is the view of K.C. Ware. It is not our view. So, why K.C. Ware called it quasi-federal? We must know. What is the cooperative federalism? Grenville Astle called Indian federal system as cooperative federalism. Cooperative federalism. Cooperative means work together, work simultaneously, work together is cooperative. So how Indian government and state government are working together, working simultaneously, this is cooperative federalism. So we have features of cooperative federalism, not only in constitution, but we have extra constitutional features also in our polity for cooperative federalism. So what are the constitutional features of cooperative federalism? What are the extra constitutional features of cooperative federalism? Extra constitutional means which are mentioned in constitution. Yes, constitutional provision means provisions which are mentioned in constitution. Mentioned in constitution. The provisions which are mentioned in constitution are known as constitutional. Now, provisions. First, constitutional. Second, extra constitutional. Extra constitutional means not mentioned in constitution, not mentioned in constitution, but also not contrary to the provisions of constitution. Not in opposed to the constitution. They are not violating to the constitution. These provisions don't violate the constitution. These provisions are not mentioned in the constitution, and also these provisions don't violate the constitution. So these are extra constitutional. Example, NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, CVC, Central Vigilance Commission, and many more provisions are there which are extra constitutional. So some provisions are also there in our polity which are extra constitutional and which are also responsible for the establishment of cooperative federalism in our country. We will discuss all those provisions, like Niti Aayog is there, and Zonal Council is there. At this time, the meeting of North Zonal Council is running in Jaipur. So we have 6 zonal councils. Basically, what are zonal councils and how these zonal councils are responsible to establish cooperative federalism, we will discuss under cooperative federalism. And the third provision is known as non-constitutional. Non-constitutional. Unconstitutional. We can not unconstitutional. You can say it is unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional. Unconstitutional means these provisions are also not mentioned in the Constitution. Not mentioned in the Constitution. And also these violates the Constitution. Violates the Constitution. That is, these are not mentioned in the Constitution, and these are violating in practice all the provisions or some provisions of the Constitution. Yes, we can take any example. Basically, in general, unconstitutional provisions have no existence. These provisions have no existence because these are against the Constitution. Violates the Constitution means these are against the Constitution. Because these are against the Constitution, therefore these provisions have no existence in practice. For example, Parliament amended the Constitution through 99th Constitutional Amendment. And through 99th Constitutional Amendment, National Judicial Appointment Commission (NJAC) was created by Parliament. National Judicial Appointment Commission. This National Judicial Appointment Commission was created by Parliament for the appointment and transfer of judges, appointment of Supreme Court and High Court judges, and transfer of High Court judges. This was the responsibility of National Judicial Appointment Commission. But this amendment was examined by Supreme Court. Supreme Court advocates on rules association, on Rolls Association versus Union of India in 2015. This was reviewed by Supreme Court, and Supreme Court declared this whole amendment, 99th Constitutional Amendment, unconstitutional. Why Supreme Court declared it unconstitutional? Supreme Court said that the independent judiciary is basic feature of the Indian Constitution, and this amendment violates the independence of judiciary. Therefore, the NJAC shall have no existence at all. So, NJAC, which was created by Parliament through constitutional amendment, Supreme Court declared it unconstitutional. So, which violates the Constitution, it is unconstitutional. It has no existence. It has no existence at all. It has no existence at all. So, we can't study unconstitutional provision for our polity. we can study only constitutional provisions and extra constitutional, or we can also say it non-constitutional. Somewhere it is written extra constitutional, somewhere it is written non-constitutional, but not unconstitutional. Unconstitutional is different from non-constitutional and extra constitutional. So we will cover in our study both constitutional and non or extra constitutional provisions, but not unconstitutional provisions. Okay, is it clear? So we were discussing federal system. So cooperative federalism. Also we are approaching towards competitive federalism. The 21st century is related to competitive federalism. Government is promoting. Our Prime Minister has argued that we should promote competitive federalism in our country. So what is competitive federalism? What is the nature of competitive federalism? What is the future of competitive federalism? We will discuss here in detail. Also, what are the limitations for the enforcement of federal system in our country? There are many limitations. There are many boundaries. So what are the limitations which are creating hindrances in the enforcement of our federal system? And what should be remedies? What are the remedies to promote our federal system in competitive manner and in cooperative manner? We will discuss here. Okay, so this is a lengthy topic, we can say, federal system, and questions are asked related to federal system, and we will cover some doctrines here when we will cover federal system. And you will not able to get these doctrines in some books. Basically, if we go through MP Jain and Sirvai, these are these books are for serious reading, we can say, because Sirvai book is in 3 volumes. MP Jain book is about more than 300 pages. So when we go through these type of textbooks, then we can study only these type of doctrines, that is principles. So we will discuss the federal system in different manner, which are not mentioned in general books. Only then you can get good marks. So this is the federal system. After federal system, we will cover preamble. Every constitution has its own preamble in the constitution. We can say every law has preamble initially. So what is preamble? Preamble is soul of the constitution. It is the spirit of our constitution. It is the conscience of our constitution. It is the philosophy of our constitution. Why it is known as philosophy, why it is known as soul of the constitution, we will discuss in detail. There are some components in our preamble. What are major components? And when we discuss the components of preamble, we can see some words are mentioned in preamble, like sovereignty, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. So we will not consider here only meaning of these words, but we will analyze these topics in detail. For example, if we are covering socialist, then what is socialist pattern, what is the capitalist pattern, what is mixed economy, why we have adopted socialist? We have refused the socialist nature of a state, but not socialist goal of a state. There is a difference between socialist nature and socialist goal. We have refused. Our pendulum of economy has shifted from socialist nature of a state, but not from socialist goal. We are focusing on socialist goal, but we have shifted from socialist nature. So what is the difference between socialist nature and socialist goal? Secular. what is secularism model, what is Western secularism model, what is Indian secularism model, what is French secularism model. Question was asked in 2019, I think, in main examination. What can France learn from Indian secularism model? What can France learn? Not we. What can France learn from us regarding secularism? So we have adopted liberal model of secularism. They have adopted strict model of secularism. So what are these models? Why we say that France should learn? So we will discuss in detail all the aspects of secularism. And also we will examine the enforcement of Indian secularism model. What are the barriers? What are the hindrances? What are the limitations in Indian secularism model? We will also discuss this topic. If we will discuss democracy, so we will not only discuss what is the democracy. Democracy means government of the people, for the people, and by the people. That is very popular statement of Abraham Lincoln. But we will not write initially that democracy means government of people, for the people, by the people. No. This is a very simple definition of government. We will discuss here, we will write here. Democracy is philosophy of life, not only philosophy of, not only nature of a state. And democracy is the thought which is based on the doctrine of popular sovereignty. So we will start discussion from this point of view. In general, you will see in the book, democracy means government by the people, for the people, of the people. That is, government of people is democracy. We will write, but later on. Why democracy is government of people? Because in democracy, democracy is based on the doctrine of principle. Doctrine means principle. Doctrine of people's sovereignty. So what is the doctrine of people's sovereignty? We must know. So we will discuss these topics in different manner, which are not written in general in the book. And we are discussing in this manner, we will be discussing in this manner, so that you can write your answer differently from others, and only when you will be able to get good marks. Okay. So these aspects we will cover here regarding democracy, and what is the direct democracy, what is the indirect democracy, representative democracy. These topics will be covered here. And then also some objectives of preamble are also mentioned in Constitution, in preamble. What are the objectives which are mentioned in preamble? What to ensure through Constitution? We have to ensure justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. So what is the meaning of justice? Social justice, economic justice, political justice. What is the meaning of liberty? In preamble, liberty is mentioned, but when it is provided in fundamental right, no liberty is mentioned. There is right to freedom, not right to liberty. There is right to freedom. So there should be difference between liberty and freedom. Therefore, in preamble word, liberty has been used, and in fundamental right word, freedom has been used. So what is the difference between liberty and freedom? Why we have these two different words differently in preamble and fundamental rights? We will discuss in this manner. So this is the discussion related to preamble. After preamble, we will cover each and every part of the Constitution which are important for our study. First part is related to union and its state. So some constitutional provisions are there, like how states are formed. We have created Telangana, we have created Uttarakhand. So what is the procedure of creation of these states. So we will discuss constitutional provision. And after the discussion of constitutional provision, we will cover how states are evolved in our country. Initially, there was a demand, the formation of states on linguistic basis. That is, one language, one state. But now, there are almost about 12 demands are pending for new states. But these demands are not based on language. These are not based on language. So there is a shift of paradigm for the creation of state. Initially it was based on language, but later on it shifted towards development, problems, necessities, etc. So what is the shift? How states are evolved? We will discuss in chronology. And also for main examination, we will discuss, is there need to create new states in India? Because we said that if we create new state, then state will be of a small size. And if states have a small size, then administration would be easy. But this approach multiply the states. So should we follow this approach or not? So we will analyze the issue of formation of states in our country. Should we need more states? Because I have said that more than 20 demands are pending for creation of new state. For example, Darjeeling, because there is a cultural difference between West Bengal and Darjeeling, because Darjeeling was not part of West Bengal when Britishers came. When Britishers came to India, Darjeeling was part to Sikkim. So there is a cultural difference, but there is a demand which is pending. Bodoland, Maharashtra. In Maharashtra there is Marathwada, Vidarbha. In Gujarat there is Saurashtra, Kutch. So many demands are. In UP there is Bundelkhand, but Yogi ji has he has managed these demands, because these demands are based on lack of development, their local problems, necessities, and he is focusing on their problems, like construction of new roads, dams, yes, providing water, food, education, health services. So he is focusing. Let us see what will be the result. But he is focusing so that no new demand can take place for Bundelkhand. So many demands are there. So union and states. Next, citizenship. So what is the citizenship? What is the nationality? If we ask to you, what is your citizenship? You say Indian. If I say, what is your nationality? You say Indian. Answer is Indian, but question is different. So what is the difference between citizenship and nationality? We will discuss here. What is the significance of citizenship? Why we have created the concept of citizenship? Because citizenship is a legal concept. Citizenship is a legal concept. It is a legal relationship. So we can enjoy it, but we can't feel it. Without feeling, we are enjoying it. So this is citizenship. So what is the concept of citizenship? And what is the mode of acquisition of citizenship, what is the mode of loss of citizenship, what is the method or mode of acquisition and loss of citizenship, we will discuss here. Also, Citizenship Amendment Act, which was in controversy, CA 2019. So what is CA, what is NRC, what is the difference between CA and NRC? So we will discuss, we will cover all these issues, so that you should have crystal clarity about these concepts. After citizenships, we will cover fundamental rights. The most important part of the Constitution, fundamental rights. We will take good time to study fundamental rights. Fundamental rights. So what is the concept of fundamental rights? Why fundamental rights have been given in the Indian Constitution? We have adopted the concept of fundamental rights from USA. So what is the difference between fundamental rights in our country and Bill of Rights in America? Because in America these are known as Bill of Rights. So these basic discussions would take place. Also, what is the classification of fundamental right? What is the concept of judicial? Many principles are there, many doctrines are there, and questions have been asked, like what is the concept of natural justice? What is the concept of rule of law? Many times question have been asked, and in every examination question have been asked. Rule of law in pre-examination and in main examination both. So what is rule of law? There is difference between British concept of rule of law and Indian concept of rule of law. So we will discuss comparatively. That is, we will compare the British concept of rule of law and Indian concept of rule of law. And also there are some fundamental rights which are mentioned in the Constitution, like right to equality, right to freedom, right to freedom of religion. So all these rights have been given in the Constitution. When we will discuss these fundamental rights, then we will compare from USA also. Not only we will compare, but we will discuss issues related to these fundamental rights. Like when we will discuss right to equality, then we will discuss issue of reservation, because reservation is not against right to equality. It is an instance of equality. In the case of Indira Sahni versus Union of India, popularly known as Mandal case, Supreme Court held that reservation is not against the equality. It is an instance of equality. Why it was said, we will discuss here. There has been many demand that we should provide reservation in private sector. Haryana is example. Haryana government declared that we are going to provide reservation in private sector jobs. No doubt, Supreme Court overruled it, and it was but obvious. So Supreme Court overruled it, but discussion is going on. There should be reservation in private sector's job or not. So what are the pros and cons? What are the merits and demerits for these reservation? We will discuss here. Also, reservation has been given on economic ground. So what is the significance of this reservation? We will also discuss here. So these are issues related to right to equality. And also there was question in 2020 related to 2021, not 2020, related to right to equality. question was asked in preliminary examination that arbitrariness is violation of in which article? Article 14, 19, 21. Option was there. So this is the judgment of Supreme Court in the case of E.P. Royappa versus State of Tamil Nadu, that arbitrariness and equality are enemy to each other. This is the statement of Supreme Court, and this was the question in 2021 in prelims examination. So we have discussed, when we have discussed Article 14 previous classes from the very beginning. So we will also write these important cases and all the discussions. When we will discuss right to freedom, we need more and more freedom. We have right to freedom, but we need more and more. Like Genu, we need azadi. So we need more and more freedom. So what is the right to equality? What is the extent and what is the limitation? What are the boundaries? We will discuss in detail. There is also some debates related to right to freedom, like freedom of press, the arrest of Mr. Jubair, freedom of press, sedition versus right to freedom. There is a case of sedition. Many cases have been lost every year under section 124A of Indian Penal Code, IPC. And this section provides the offense of sedition. Offense has been declared as sedition in this book, in this law book. So sedition has been defined, but treason has not been defined here. What is the difference between sedition and treason? And what judgment has been pronounced by Supreme Court regarding the offense of sedition? And now the petition is pending in Supreme Court that this offense should be omitted from the law book, from IPC. This petition is pending before Supreme Court at present. So sedition should be there or not, we will discuss here. Not only sedition, we will discuss here right to use internet. Is this fundamental right? Is it fundamental right or not? So what is the status of right to use internet? We will discuss here. Anuradha Bhasin, the case is Anuradha Bhasin. The pre-censorship on films. Pre-censorship on films. So it should be relevant or not? It should be there or not? We will also discuss, because these are related to freedom of speech. Also, advertisement. What should be the limitation of advertisement? We are taking Mountain Dew and we are driving bike from one top to another top. Is it possible in practice? No. Is it not possible? It is not possible in practice. But we are taking dew. Then we are doing with dew. So there should be limitation over advertisements. So what should be limitation should be there over advertisements? These are issue of freedom of speech and expression. So these are topics which we will cover here under freedom of speech and right to life and personal liberty. That is right to life with dignity. So what is the difference between American pattern of right to life with dignity and what is the difference between American pattern of right to life with dignity and Indian pattern of right to life with dignity? There is a difference, because in America it has been provided under due process of law, and in India it has been provided under procedure established by law. So it is a legal phrase. What are the meaning of these legal phrase and how these are enforceable in practice? what are the differences, what are the similarities, we will discuss here in detail, okay, with the debate of constituent assembly. And also there are some debates related to right to life with dignity. What debates are there? First, right to privacy. So right to privacy has been declared fundamental right under Article 21 in the case of Puttaswamy versus Union of India. The Supreme Court has declared it. But what is the extent of right to privacy? We have Pegasus issue. Pegasus is a software which can enter into your phone without your permission. It is the strongest software which have been made aware. The strongest software. It can enter into your phone without your permission. It can steal your data and transmit to third party. And it is doing. It is going on by the governments, because governments are using, not only our government, many governments in this world are using Pegasus software. So is this violates our right to privacy? So we will analyze these topics. Next thing, something is missing in right to privacy at present. What is missing? We are living in digital world. And when we are living in digital world, then we should have right to digital privacy. But this is nowhere in existence. We should have right to be forgotten. Right to be forgotten. But this has no existence at all. So this is a way forward. This is a futuristic approach of right to privacy, which should be considered by the court. But it has not been taken cognizance by the court. That is digital privacy, right to be forgotten. But we will discuss here. What is the nature of right to digital privacy? What is the nature of right to be forgotten? What is right to be forgotten? European Union GDPR. In European Union, General Data Protection Regulation has been made by European Union. And right to be forgotten has been given to the European people. So we are also demanding that in India, we should have right to be forgotten under Article 21. Euthanasia, we have right to life with dignity, but we don't have right to die. But we have right to die with dignity. So we have right to life with dignity, but don't have right to die, but have right to die with dignity. So what are these rights? We will discuss in detail, and we will discuss what is passive euthanasia, which has been given constitutional status by the court, Supreme Court. So we have given these examples, that is, we will discuss fundamental rights in large, broad spectrum, which are not given in general in books. So if you see the book, this approach is not given in books, but for our examination, for our interview, we should adopt this type of approach for our study. Okay, so we will cover in this manner. And next topic we will cover DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy. Directive Principles of State Policy. These are duties of state which are given in our constitution. What is the duty? Many duties are there. We will discuss in detail. For example, the state should provide free legal aid to poor person, opportunity for equal justice. So these type of many protection of environment, very relevant these times. Ban on liquor, very relevant or not relevant, you can decide, but we will discuss. So ban on liquor. So these aspects have been mentioned. These are duties of states which are given in constitution under DPSPs. We have adopted the constitution of DPSP from the constitution of Ireland, but the DPSPs which are mentioned in Indian constitution are different from the constitution of Ireland. What is the difference? We will discuss in detail. Fundamental duties. We are civilized citizen of this country. So if we are civilized citizens of this country, then we should follow some duties regarding our nation, society, individual, environment. So should we follow? We will discuss. So these are the fundamental duties for our civilized citizenship and for our civil society. So very important part is there. And after that, this is part 4A. After that, we will cover constitutional amendment. This is part 20 of the constitution. But we are shifting this topic from part 20 to just after part 4A, because these topics will cover the abstract part of the constitution. After this, after the study of these abstract part of the constitution, we will discuss the practical aspect of the constitution, which will provide information about formation and function of government. So amendment of constitution. After FD, we will cover amendment of constitution. And when we will cover amendment of constitution, then we will discuss concept of basic structure also. What is the concept of basic structure? How it was evolved? What is the significance? We will discuss in detail the concept of basic structure of the constitution. After the discussion of these topics, these are the abstract part of the constitution. After the discussion of these topics, we will start discussing about governments. So union government, state government and local government. So government. First, union government. Popularly we say it central government. So Indian government is popularly known as central government, but in constitution central word is not used for Indian government. The word is used that that is union. So we will call it union government. So union government, we know that there are three organs of government: executive, legislature and judiciary. Why government has three organs? Why not four? Why not five? Why not two? So we will discuss initially in the topic of introduction, but we will discuss here three organs of government. First, executive. Under executive, we will discuss president, vice president, prime minister, council of minister, advocate general, attorney general. So these are the topics which are mentioned under executive in the constitution. But these topics are mentioned in the constitution. Some topics are not mentioned in the constitution, but these are essential part of executive. We will also discuss those topics. For example, cabinet. The word council of minister, COM, I have written in short. The word council of minister has been used in constitution, not cabinet. So what is the difference between cabinet and council of minister? Cabinet committees are there. Cabinet committees are there. So what are cabinet committees? What is the significance of cabinet committees? Question has been asked. So what is the cabinet committees? Also PMO, na? Prime Minister's office, very popular. PMO, cabinet secretariat, cabinet secretariat, central secretariat, because in our syllabus the word department of government has been written. You should cover some important departments also. So these are basically important department. These are responsible for policy formulation at the apex of the government. So these are three organizations at the top of the government: Prime Minister's office, Cabinet Secretariat. This is the topmost organization of the country, topmost administrative organization. It is the administrative head, basically, you can say, administrative head of the country. And it is headed by Cabinet Secretary. Who will be the Cabinet Secretary? The IS officer at the very young age. So if you become an IS officer at the age of 21, 22, 23, then you can become, and your service period is neat and clean. You are not involved in flow of money other than salary. So you can become. Yes. So central secretariat, it is also policy making body at the apex of the organization. So these organizations we will discuss under union executive, though these topics are not mentioned in the constitution, but we have already mentioned that we will discuss Indian polity on the basis of constitutional provisions and extra constitutional provisions. So these are extra constitutional provisions related to executive. And after executive, we will discuss parliament. And in this discussion, the approach of pre and main examination both will be covered. Okay, so it will be covered. In parliament, we will discuss the formation of parliament, powers of parliament, decline role of parliament. The role of parliament is declining day by day, we can say. The monsoon session is going to start. So all the monsoon lovers will be there in parliament. But what will they do? Let us see. But they are not doing very good practices, which we have seen earlier in past years. We have Police Act of 1861. How many times have been gone? You can count. We have Official Secret Act of 1923. There is no need of this law. All the commissions and committees have been recommended that this should be omitted. But no action has been taken yet. No action has been taken yet. So It is a primary requirement nowadays that parliamentarian should do their best. It is the requirement of the 21st century of our country, but they are not doing accordingly. So I am saying, therefore I am concluding that the role of parliament is declining. Only the reason is because the role is not relevant according to our problems, according to our situations, according to our futuristic approach. So they are not showing their concern regarding these issues. So declining role of parliament, and also defection. Defection and defecation both are big problems of our country. So we will discuss here defection. So anti-defection law is there, anti-defection provisions are there, but it needs some correction. So what correction should be there? What modification should be there? We will discuss these things. Parliamentary privileges are given to parliamentarians. That is, they enjoy some rights which are not given to us, which are not given to other than parliamentarian. So these rights are known as parliamentary privileges. Parliamentary privileges has been provided to them for their perfect role in parliament, but they are not doing according to the sentiment and concept of parliamentary privileges. So what is the limitation? What are the barriers? What are the hindrances? Should it be continued or not? So we will discuss all these aspects of parliamentary privileges. Okay. So also parliamentary committees. Questions have been asked from this section in pre and main examination both. In 2021 main examination, the question on parliamentary committee was asked. So what are the parliamentary committees? Some financial committees are there, some scrutiny committees are there. So many types of committees are there. We will discuss about parliamentary committees. So all the aspect of parliament will be covered here. Okay. So these are two organs of government which we will cover here. But we are not going to cover here judicial system, Supreme Court. We are shifting Supreme Court after state government. So we will discuss after union government, state government. Why we are shifting, we will explain here. Executive. So in executive we will discuss a governor, the post of governor, very controversial role. Governors have been played in many states. So what is the controversy? Politicization of role of governor. So we will discuss all these aspects of governor. And chief minister, council of minister, advocate general. So these are the part of executive, state executive, which are mentioned in the constitution. Which are not mentioned in the constitution, the part are chief secretary, head of the bureaucracy of a state, chief secretary, secretariat, directorate. What is the difference between secretariat and directorate? What are the functions of these two bodies? We will cover here. And state legislature. Similarly, we will cover state legislature, formation of organization of state legislature, and all the functioning of a state legislature is quite similar to parliament. So there is no need to discussion for the functioning of a state legislature. But some states have upper house, that is legislative councils, and many states don't have legislative councils. So what is the need of legislative councils? What is the method of creation and abolition of legislative councils? This question was asked in 2021 main examination. This question was asked just previous year. So in 2021 this question was asked, creation and abolition of legislative councils, and what is the status and significance of legislative councils in states. This was the question. So we will discuss here all the aspects of legislature. After covering the new executive and parliament of union government, executive and state legislature of state government, we will cover Indian judicial system. Indian judicial system, because many issues are related to related to judiciary. So if we discuss Supreme Court, High Court, lower court separately, then we will not able to cover those issues in broad manner. So we are combining these two judicial systems all together, and we will discuss the union judicial system, that is Supreme Court, and state judicial system, that is high courts and subordinate courts here. So Supreme Court, High Court and subordinate court. Subordinate court means district court. Popularly we say district court. So Supreme Court, High Court and subordinate court. So what is the method of appointment of judges? Has been in controversy, is in controversy, because it reflects that there is a hereditary system in appointment of judicial system. There was Mr. Chandrachud, ex-Chief Justice of India, and now Chote Chandrachud. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud was father of Justice Y.V. Chandrachud, and now Justice Y.V. Chandrachud is Judge of Supreme Court, and his father was also Chief Justice of India, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. And now two sons of Justice Y.V. Chandrachud are ready. So the method of appointment which is provided for the judges is not democratic. It needs reform. So what should be reform? We will discuss here. What is the issue? We will discuss here. What is the collegium? We will discuss here. Many issues, appointment issues, a draconian law is also there, known as contempt of court. We are afraid of if we discuss about courts. So contempt of court, what is the concept of contempt of court, and powers of Supreme Court, jurisdiction of Supreme Court, also not only powers and jurisdiction of Supreme Court, but we will discuss PIL, public interest litigation, judicial activism, versus judicial overreach. So judicial activism, judicial overreach, and also many more concepts are there related to judicial reform. For example, Lok Adalat, Legal Service Authority Act, Legal Service Authority, Family Court, ग्राम न्यायालय, arbitration and conciliation act, tribunals, plea bargaining, etc. So these are topics which we will cover here under Indian judicial system. Okay. So after the discussion of Indian judicial system, we will be able to cover the union government and state government completely. And after that, after 2-tier of government system, union government and state government, we will cover local government. Two parts are there of local government. First is rural local government, and rural local government is known as panchayat. So panchayats, this is rural local government, and second part is urban local government, which is responsible for water logging. Not responsible for water logging, but they are doing in this manner. So municipalities, so what are the formation, what are the functioning of these panchayats and municipalities? Questions have been asked in pre and main examination both. And what is the method of devolution of powers and finances to these institutions? How powers and finances has been devolved to panchayats and municipalities? What is the status of this devolution, and what is the significance of this devolution? What are the major landmarks after this devolution in panchayats and municipalities? What are the limitations? What are the barriers in their functioning? And what should be reform? What reform should take place? So we will discuss all these aspects. Also, there is an act known as PESA Act. Yes, correct. Provisions of Panchayats Extension to Scheduled Areas Act. That is PESA Act. So we will cover the PESA Act under this section. So this is the local government. After local government, we will discuss union territories, UTs. Part 8, some provisions for union territories has been given in Constitution. So what provisions have been given in Constitution for union territories? And also special provisions have been mentioned for Delhi and questions have been asked. For example, Chief Minister of Delhi is appointed by, who appoints Chief Minister of Delhi? No, LG has no right to appoint. Correct. President has right to appoint. But in practice, we see that LG is appointing LG is appointing authority. But LG is working on behalf of President. Actually, in Constitution, this right has been vested with President. President is responsible for the appointment of Chief Minister of Delhi only, not for all union territories. There is Union Territory of Puducherry with legislature, but Chief Minister of Puducherry will be appointed by Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, not President. There is a provision for Jammu and Kashmir. Earlier is what it was a state, but now Union Territory, and after some time it will be a state, no doubt. But nowadays it is Union Territory, and it was required for our country for the unity and integration for our country, because disintegrating activities are very much in those areas. So Jammu and Kashmir is Union Territory with legislature. At present there is no legislature, but the work of delimitation has been completed. So after some time election shall take place. And if election shall take place, then there will be Chief Minister. Who will appoint the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir? LG. You didn't take chance for answer. So he will be appointed by LG. Only Chief Minister of Delhi is appointed by President. So some provisions have been made regarding union territories. What provisions have been made for union territories we will discuss here, and also some issues are there. For example, controversy between LG and Chief Minister. Basically, there should be no chance for controversy, but we know that this is on political ground, but there has been controversy. So we will discuss. Supreme Court has been declared clearly what should be the solution and what is the actual status of Delhi government. It has been clearly declared by Supreme Court. Second thing, there has been a continuous demand from some political parties that a separate state status should be given to Delhi, like UP, Bihar, etc., etc. So Delhi should be like Bihar, not should like Bihar, but like a state of Bihar. So statehood status should be given to Delhi. So we will discuss the genuinity of this demand, the extent of rationality of this demand. This demand is rational or not? Should this status awarded to Delhi or not? So what is favor, what is provisions in disfavor, we will discuss in detail. So this discussion will be related to union territories, and after union territory we will discuss scheduled and tribal areas. That is schedule, fifth schedule and sixth schedule. Some areas of Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram. Some areas of Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram has been covered under sixth schedule. Some areas. Only Meghalaya is covered completely under sixth schedule. And Assam, Tripura and Mizoram, there are some areas of these states which are covered under 6th schedule. And other than these 4 states, there are 10 states which are covered under 5th schedule. That is, some areas of those states, these states includes Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha. So these states are related to 5th schedule, and some areas of these states are declared as scheduled areas because these are tribal areas. But each and every tribal area is not declared as scheduled area. Only some area has been declared as scheduled area. So the area which has been declared as scheduled area, the administration of those areas will be different from other areas. So what will be the different provisions for the administration of those areas? We will discuss here in 5th and 6th schedule. So both have different provisions. And in the last, in government, part 21, that is temporary and transitional provisions. These part contains some temporary and transitional provisions. If any provision of this part becomes in controversy or discussion, then questions can be asked. So Maharashtra, Gujarat, Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, Andhra Pradesh, Sikkim, Goa, etc. These states are covered in this part 21, and some areas of these states have been covered for transitional and temporary provisions. So what are the transitional and temporary provisions for these areas? We will discuss here. So we will discuss in government system in these topics. And after the discussion of this government system, we will discuss the controversial relationship, that is union states relations. Union states relations. So some constitutional provisions are there. Legislative relations, administrative relations, financial relations. Legislative, administrative, financial. So these are the main aspect of relationship between union government and state government. What are the constitutional provisions? We will discuss here. And also there has been dispute, history of dispute between union and state. So what are the main reasons for the dispute, and what action we should take to resolve these disputes? We will discuss all these things. So disputes and suggestions, and also many other disputes will be covered here, like interstate water dispute. Okay, Kaveri, Krishna river, Kaveri river dispute, Krishna river dispute. So interstate water dispute, interstate water dispute, and interstate council. Interstate council has been established to resolve the disputes, but it was established in 1990 after the 4th decade of the constitution, enforcement of the constitution. It was established but is not functioning. So initially in 4 decades there was no existence of interstate council, but there is nowadays there is existence of interstate council without functioning. So at that time there was no impact because this was not present, and nowadays this has no impact because it is not functioning well. It is not according to constitution, because interstate council is mentioned in constitution in article 263. The provisions were provided in the constitution for interstate council. Deliberately these provisions were mentioned in the constitution, but we are ignoring in practice. This is not good practices. And finance commission, very good organization, functioning well, has been functioning well, now is functioning well. So finance commission has been there. Finance commission is for the distribution of finance between union government and state government. Also for the recommendation of grant to state from union government, because union government has rich source of taxes, income than states. Therefore this duty has been given to finance commission, that what principle should be adopted by union government for the distribution of wealth, for the distribution of income between union and state, among all states, so that there should be equality among all states. So finance commission has been established. And what is the provision of finance commission? Question has been asked in pre-examination, frequently has been asked in main examination. In 2021 main examination, I think question number 3 or 4, I think 3 was related to finance commission. In main examination it was related to 14th finance commission report. 14th finance commission report, because 15th finance commission has been given its report, and earlier it was 14th finance commission. So what was the impact of 14th finance commission? The question was asked in 2021 main examination. So it is very important topic, finance commission. And also CAG, there is an authority in our constitution, comptroller and auditor general. Comptroller and auditor general. So why it is comptroller and why it is auditor general, we will explain here. Why it is comptroller and auditor general both. In Britain it is actually comptroller and auditor general both, but in India it is only auditor general. It is comptroller not in real sense. Only designation has been given to comptroller, to CAG as comptroller, but actually it doesn't play role as comptroller. It plays role as auditor general only in our country in comparison to Britain. So we will discuss comparatively. So CAG, this will cover these topics. After union state relationship, we will cover public services. That is discussion related to your career. What are public services? Constitutional safeguards have been given to public servant. You will enjoy constitutional safeguard when you will join the service. So you should do rigorous effort to join the civil services. So you should be eager to join civil services because you have to enjoy constitutional safeguard which you are going to study. So for enjoying this constitutional safeguard, you must join. So what are the public services and what is the constitutional status? Also, that is constitutional safeguard plus what are the provisions related to Union Public Service Commission, what are the provisions related to State Public Service Commissions, we will discuss here. Provisions related to UPSC and State Public Service Commissions. Questions have been asked in previous year related to UPSC and SPSC both. We will not critically examine the UPSC because we have much critic and we don't want to share it with you because you are associated to UPSC and SPSC. If you will you want to appear in state service examination also, then only. So but some limitations we will discuss here, all only some limitations. After public service, we will cover elections. So in elections, we will cover what are the provisions of elections related to election in Indian Constitution, like adult franchise, that is right to vote. Right to vote is known as adult franchise. So right to vote, right to elect, which is given in Constitution, in which manner we will discuss here. It is not given as right, Supreme Court has declared. So election provisions related to elections, also election commission. Many provisions are related to election commissions in Constitution and some are not related to, some are not mentioned in the Constitution, some are mentioned in the Act. So what are the provisions related to election commissions, we will discuss here. And now we enjoy free and fair election. This is the major role of election commission. Earlier it was not in our country. When I became a voter first time, then I went to booth to enjoy my right. And without enjoying my right, I returned to home enjoying in another manner. Because someone went before me and he enjoyed my right. So this was my first encounter with election. It was an encounter and it was not good, basically. So in our country, as we have seen in Indian films, during election, explosion of bomb, booth capturing, revolver, moving out, airing of revolver. So this was actual status of our election system. But up to 80s and initial years of 90s, after that, when T.N. Session was appointed as election commission, then he made a strict reform related to elections, and now we are enjoying free and fair election, and now you can enjoy your right to vote, not like me. So it is the duty of election commission. Also, some issues are related to elections there, like simultaneous election. We will discuss issues. Simultaneous election of Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly. There is a thought which has been promoted by now Prime Minister that both elections of Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly should be conducted simultaneously. So it is a very good thought, but some political parties are in opposition, therefore we are unable to enforce it. So what is the thought of what is the thought in favor, what is the thought in disfavor, pros, cons, what should be conclusion, what should be solution, we will discuss here. Simultaneous election. Also, recognition of political parties. Recognition of political parties. Recognition of political parties. Some parties are enjoying the status of national parties. Some parties are enjoying the status of state parties. So how these status are awarded to the awarded to political parties? So we will discuss. And also, if we are discussing about political parties, then pressure groups. What is the difference between political parties and pressure groups? How pressure groups have impact on policy making, decision making, law making? What are their means? What are their means for making impact on policy making, decision making, etc.? We will discuss here. Also, on next page, I am going to write funding in election. That is electoral funding. Electoral funding should be transparent. But we have no transparency in electoral funding. We have no transparency. Even if we receive foreign funds, then we means every organization who receives foreign funds are covered under FCRA Act, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, or FEMA Act, Foreign Exchange Management Act. These two acts are for the regulation of foreign funding. You will be surprised to know that political parties are not covered under this act. They are exempted. They are exempted. Political parties are exempted. So it is not good basically. What is the source of funding? What are you doing regarding funds which you have collected? Because you are functioning for our democracy. And in democracy, sovereignty is vested with us. We are sovereign, not you. So there should be separate account. There should be an audit system for political parties, and it should be transparent. But alas, there is no such provisions for political parties. So funding in election, funding in political parties, it is a big issue for reform. Next, RPA, Representation of People Act. RPA 1950 and 1951. These are two acts for election commission, powers of election commission, and for the conduct of election. So to conduct the election by election commission, these two acts are responsible. So what are the main provisions of these two acts? We will discuss here. So it will cover all the aspect related to electoral system in our country. After election, we will cover some special provisions. Some special provisions means provisions related to for SC, ST and socially educationally backward classes, SEBC. Provisions related to scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and socially educationally backward classes, SEBC. And also in this unit we will discuss National Commission for Scheduled Caste, National Commission for Scheduled Tribe, National Commission for Socially Educationally Backward Classes, and all the issue related to these NCSC, NCST and SEBC we will cover here. What is the composition of this commission, how they are functioning, what is the limitation, and there is a thought also that there should be a merger of these commissions into National Human Rights Commission, because these are not success for the fulfillment of the goals which was designed at the time of existence of these commissions. So there is a thought that these commissions should be merge into NHRC, or there should be some amendment to strengthen these commissions like NHRC. So there are two ways of thoughts, that is for strengthening of these commission or for merger of this commission. Which one you like? The question is asked. Which one you like? Strengthening or merger? Merger. Very good, merger. Why we will discuss here. So we will discuss the discussion related to these commissions, and after that official language. Hindi is official language. So this is July. After this July, August, and in August there will be 15 days for enjoying the official language of Hindi. Only these 15 days we enjoy the official language Hindi, because everywhere you can see a board that we do our work in Hindi, in bank, in government offices, but nowhere Hindi is used for official functioning, because Parliament has made official Language Act in 1963, and in this act Parliament has mentioned that the official language of country is English. So Constitution says the official language is Hindi. Parliament says, the Act of Parliament says official language is English. So what provision you should follow? In exam you should follow Constitution, and In practice, you should follow Official Language Act. So there is a difference between theory and practice. Theoretically, Hindi is official language because it is mentioned in Constitution, but in practice, English is official language. So these are the provisions related to official language we will discuss here. Okay, and some facts related to other parts of the Constitution, like we will discuss last part of the Constitution, part 22 of the Constitution. It is a introduction to the Constitution. Introduction is given in the last, that is in part 22. It is from article 393 to 395, part 22, 393 to 395, and it is part 22, last part of the Constitution. It says that article 393 says that the name of this Constitution is Constitution of India. Like if we ask you, give your introduction, then you say that, sir, my name is XYZ, I reside MNOP, like this. So article 393 says that the name of this Constitution is Constitution of India. When it was in force, what is the date of enforcement? It is written in article 394. So this is mere and bare introduction of the Constitution. Fact, these are facts. And when we are approaching to facts, then we will discuss those facts which we have left earlier. So we will discuss here those facts, that is, we will cover historical development or evolution of Constitution. We will cover framing of the Constitution. After this discussion, we will again come some constitutional conceptual topic, but extra constitutional, like we will cover regulatory bodies. These are mentioned in our syllabus. So regulatory bodies, statutory bodies like NHRC, CVC. Statutory bodies means which are established through act. We will discuss tomorrow. Regulatory bodies means which are created for regulation. What is regulation? We will discuss. So which are created for regulation. So these are regulatory bodies. Statutory bodies. Questions have been asked. In 2021 main examination, question from NHRC was asked. Questions from NHRC is there in 2021 main examination. So these are important bodies. And rights issues like RTI. So we will cover it in governance part, basically. Right to information, consumers' right, so these are the topics which we will cover here under polity section. So very small syllabus is there of Indian polity, no? Yes, of course, only less than 2 hours we have taken to complete the discussion related to content. So it is very small. It has very small syllabus, and also it has it is very interesting in nature. Na, if we will discuss, so we will discuss in detail. But what are the sources of study? We will discuss it tomorrow, because now it is 7 o'clock. So we will discuss what is the source, what is the approach, and after that we will discuss some basic concepts, what is state, what is nation, what is nationhood, what is nationality, what is nation state, what is state nation, what is constitution, what is constitution, what is constitutionalism, what is constitutional morality, what is Indian constitution, what are parts, what are articles, what is schedule, what is the difference between article and section. So these are basic concepts which we will cover here. Okay, then after we will start our topics. Okay, thank you.